Okay, so good evening, guys. Welcome back. We will continue with our Docker session. So today is Docker Day 8 session, and today the date is 26th of your December 2025, and the timing is evening 8:06 p.m. IST. So, guys, in the Day 7 session, which we took today morning, right? Basically, we try to understand about like what exactly Docker image is all about, right? We try to understand about the Docker image, and also like we try to understand about some of the theoretically we try to understand like how you have to pull the image from the Docker Hub, how to, and also like we understood the aspect of whenever you want to build your image, there's a process of building an image, and one among them is that you need to create an image with the help of a Docker file, right? But basically what happened apart from the Docker file, we also saw that we can able to create an image from a running container. It means that if your container is, if there is an application which is already running in a container, you can also create an image out of it. But that is not a recommended way, right? Because you are just trying to create an image of a running container. Suppose you are building your application from the scratch itself, then it means that actually then we always will go ahead with writing a file by name Docker file. Okay, and that Docker file we will use some kind of a Docker instructions to write a Docker file, and finally we will try to build it actually. So in today's session, guys, that is in day session, we will try to learn about how to write a Docker file. How to write the Docker file. We'll start with the very basic level from today because this is the first day. We'll not really go into very much in detail about many aspects of Dockerfile. We will try to learn very basic level in today's session. So today's session, it might extend because I'll be covering many things, guys. So please have patience and listen to the entire session. If in case if you feel somewhat it is too much, then I'll stop the class. Okay. So in today's session, we are going to learn about how to write a Docker file and how to use the Docker instructions to how to use the Docker instructions, right? And in Day 7 session, also we had discussed about something about what are all the different popular instructions what you're having it. So if you go to your Docker reference, Docker file reference page, you will get this page, guys. You will get this link where you will see all the Docker references, Docker file reference. These are not but the instructions what we'll be using to write a Docker file. All these instructions are very important because we will be using most of these instructions like whenever we tend to write a Docker file in your real time. When you try to work on any of the project where you want to build an image, you'll be writing a Docker file, and most of these instructions you will be using at your project level actually. So we need to have a knowledge on almost all these instructions actually. And even in interview also, they might ask you about to explain some of the instructions which you have used it. They might also ask you like some of the instruction like what is health check, what is on build, what is stop signal, what is volume. They might ask some of this instruction, you have to explain it, right? For example, they might ask what is the difference between add and copy. Okay, why we are having something as an entry point and a CMD. Okay, CMD is there, entry point is there. So what is the difference between CMD and entry point? Okay, can we use combination of both these things? Right? So you need to explain about all these instructions with an example. You have to explain during the intro time, and also like you should know how to use in your Docker file. So what we're going to learn from today, we will start our journey in writing a Docker file with the help of these Docker instructions. Okay. Now, fine, guys. Okay, let us do one thing. Let me try to create one folder where I'll start writing. So I think I will choose this folder. So Docker, where I'll be keeping all the recording, right? Let me create here itself actually. I'll try to create something like Docker file images, something like that. I will try to create a folder with this name. Okay. And then what we'll do, we'll get inside it. And basically what we'll do that we will try to open the terminal, and basically we'll try to launch the your Visual Studio Code. Okay, so this is a Visual Studio Code we have. Okay, we'll start writing here. Okay, now Okay, let it, this will be fine. So apart from this, what I will do, guys, I will don't think I'll try to log into my server also. So let me go to my EC2 instance under my Mumbai region where I have a server by name, what is the server, man? Oh, I think I stopped it. Oh, okay. Sorry, guys, I didn't start it itself. I'll, anyhow, let it come up. So this is a server, guys, where I'll be where I have installed a Docker, and also like I will be running all the instructions to build the image actually. Okay, let it come up. Okay, wait, it's taking time. Yes, it has come up. So let me try to copy the public IP of this. I'll go to my downloads folder where I have the putty. So we log in Ubuntu at the rate, give the public IP of this and try to log in into this server actually. So we have already installed a Docker, guys. If you execute Docker info command, you'll get the complete output, right? It means that you're getting a proper output when you're executing the Docker info command. You have to get both the things, client as well as the server. Both the output you have to get it. It means that then your Docker is working fine. Am I clear, sir? Now, so let us try to write a Docker file. Now, the thing is that if you remember on couple of days back, right, we had we had deployed or we had created we had run one some kind of a website, if you remember, right? We had run some website inside the container, right? If you remember, I think if I'm not wrong, uh, I think on a day 5 or a day 4, I don't think. Well, let us see on the day 6 what is notes I have. No, not this one. I think day 5 only, I think. If you remember, on the day 5, let's see. I have to see. Okay, what is it actually? Let me check it out. I think I've pasted. Yeah, this see. Can you see, guys? This is the manual stuff which we did, right? Basically, what happened, right? We had took some base image and we installed the Nginx on that, and after that, what happened, right? We tried to do a wget of this package, and then like we tried to extract it, and finally, we tried to copy this entire no content of this into the slash /www.html, and we were able to access that website with the help of this hitting the public IP with the port number 80. Do you remember this? These instructions. So basically, we had executed all these things. Now, so shall I try to reiterate the same thing and try to run it? Yeah, we can do it also, right? So what we'll do in today's session? Okay, we will write the Docker file, but let's do one thing. Let's containerize all the things. The website used in our what is that day 5? In our day 5 session, in the day 5 class actually. Okay, and right. And what are the instructions we used? Basically, we use this all these instructions. Okay, we use all these instructions. Okay, fine. Now let us do one thing. Let us go here and let me do one thing. Let me try to create one folder here first under the Docker file. Let me try to create a folder. I will try to give some folder name, something like website. This is a folder I'll give it. And then like within the inside this website folder, let me try to create a file and I'll write the file by name Dockerfile. Am I clear, sir? So you could see that whenever you're writing a Docker file, you have to use this convention. It means that always the first letter starts with always with the capital D. Later all will be smaller itself. It means that D will be capital. Let all other will be a small only. So this is a kind of a convention we are using as of today. But if you ask me, do you have to always follow this convention? It is not really. You can give your own name also. You can give any name what you are giving. But usually earlier what happened, whenever you used to write any kind of a Docker file, we used to always use this convention of using the first case as a uppercase letter. Even today also, guys, in almost all organization, when you're working on a project, you will see this file with the same name. So they will not keep any other fancy name or any other Docker file with some other name. They don't really keep it. They follow the same convention which was followed with long back, like when the people start writing Docker file. They follow this. Even today also they follow the same thing. Even when you go inside any new organization, you will see the same file will be present in that folder where they maintain all this stuff actually, right? So what we do that? So create. a new folder by name, by name or folder. What is it called? Website, right? Which I created here. Website, right?
Rajesh,
Yes.
this one you have, in VS Code, you have already created this main file, Docker file icon image already.
This is the folder, sir.
Okay, you
And
already
inside the
created.
folder, I create one more folder, website. Here, I'll be writing one Docker file inside it. If you see here, if you go here, where is it actually? See, I create a Docker file image. Inside it, I create a website. Inside the website, I create one file by name Docker file.
Okay.
Who asked this question? Karthik, are you
Yeah, yeah,
clear?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, nothing fancy, sir. I'm just creating some folder structure. Inside it, I'm writing one Docker file. Okay? Okay, fine. So now create a new folder with the name website and create a new file in this folder with the name, what is it? The name, what is it? The Docker file. Am I clear, sir? And now, what is the instruction you follow basically for you to post that, to run that application? See here, you run this. Suppose you are running it manually in the in the day 5 session, you have followed. So, what is the instruction you did? You do a sudo apt update and then you install the nginx command. And then what is the other steps? You do a wget of this shop, right? And like this. And also after doing the wget, basically what you do, like you try to whatever you try to get this image, right? Basically, it will not be in a zip file. What I will do an additional thing here that I'll try to move this content to the as a dot tar actually. This is one extra thing which I do it actually. Okay. After that, what you do basically, you try to do a installing of your unzip command, and also you will also install uh, something known as a wget also if you need it. Already wget is already installed here. So if it is not installed, then and app install wget command also will install it. Am I clear, sir? After you install it, everything you can even install all the package one at a time. Nginx space. Sorry, I think I. Oh, sorry. So you can install everything, guys. Like for example, Nginx, wget, unzip, everything, all package you can install like this in one command, so that I don't need all this instruction at all. Am I clear, sir? After that, what you do that basically you try to do a unzip of this file, and what you do after that, you do a cd to this folder, and you try to do a sudo copy whatever you're doing it to this path. And finally, you can access your application by executing this thing in your browser actually. It means that you just say HTTP public IP colon. This is how you will be able to access your application, your website, right? So what I'm trying to do that I did all these things manually. So suppose the same thing, Rajesh, whatever you did manually in the previous session or in the day 5 session, can I now Dockerize it by writing the same instruction in a Docker file? Yes, we can do it. That is how our intention is that we need to run the same website. Okay, we will be writing a Docker file and we are building an image out of it, and that image will be running, and that image will have this websites running actually. Am I clear, sir? Is it fine? So now the thing is that suppose, for example, here I'm using the image. If you remember, I'm using the Nginx image actually, right? And let me do one thing. Let me try to run the Docker container. So if I try to do a Docker container ls, nothing is there, or else I can just say Docker ps, nothing is there. If I try to do a Docker image ls, sorry, Docker image ls, I think you are having some images already because in the morning, today morning, we try to run all this, we try to pull all these images, right? right? Okay, fine. Now what I will do that basically, let me run a Nginx image. Okay, I'll just say Docker run -fn name. What is it? Something. I'll give web one. Okay, and I'll use a hyphen capital. I will run in a detached mode. Okay, run -d. Can even run Docker container run. This is what we use it actually. Docker container run -d -fn name, and you have to give the name web one, and then like I will be using a port mapping. I have to use -p 80:80, something like this. We can give either this way, or else you can just give it a capital P actually, and then specify the image nginx. Am I clear, sir? So when you try to execute this command, what will happen? You know that Nginx container will be running. I mean, a container will get created where Nginx will be running, right? When you try to do a Docker container ls, you could see that your Nginx image is running, or it's running a container, right? Am I clear, sir? Now, so when you're running a container, you know that you have to use a Docker container run, and we have to use -d, means detached mode. And while running a container, you are giving a name for the container. That's what I use a -fn name, and I gave the name container name as web1. You could see here when I try to do a Docker containers, you could see that it is showing you that web1. That's a name. If you don't pass this, you know that some kind of an arbitrary name, some default name will be provided for your running container. And here I'm using -p as a port mapping. It means that since I want to access the application which is running in the container, okay, from outside, then you have to provide a port mapping. Now, what do you mean by port mapping basically? So, guys, this is my Linux machine which is running. This is my Linux machine which is running. This is my Ubuntu, or nothing but this is my Docker host server which is running, right? And now this is a Docker host, and you know that this Docker host is having this private IP, right? And the IP address of this Docker host which is running is this is the IP address. Now, here what happened inside the Docker host, we know that we have installed your Docker. You have installed the Docker. Okay, this is nothing but you have installed the Docker. So after installing a Docker, you know that Docker is running, Docker daemon is running actually, or Docker server is running actually. Right, sir? Now, here what happened? Suppose, for example, if you are trying to create some kind of a container inside your Docker means you're running here inside your Docker host or in the server, you're trying to run any kind of a container. Suppose, for example, you're running some container here like this. This container, suppose assume that actually it is running your Nginx page, or it is running your Nginx image actually. Nginx is a web server which is running inside your container. This is nothing but your Nginx web server which is running inside your container. Right? Now, whenever any person who's sitting outside, suppose you're sitting in your laptop and you want to access whatever the application which is running inside this Nginx image, then what is happening that you can able to access with the help of something say port forwarding or port mapping we say. Now the thing is that, guys, now this user who is actually sitting outside, basically he cannot directly access his container which is running, because this Nginx container which is running, it gets its own IP address actually, right? Obviously, he will getting something like a private IP address, right? Obviously, so each and every container will be assigned some IP address that obviously it will be a private IP address. It doesn't get any kind of a public IP. So a person who's sitting outside a laptop, if he want to access, he cannot just hit this private IP address to access the content or to access that application which is hosted by your Nginx web server. He cannot access it actually directly like that. So basically what happened, right? What happens here that actually whenever he want to access it, basically what is happening is that he has to hit to the public IP of your Docker host machine. He has to hit to that IP address. Okay, for example, here this is the public IP of this. He want to hit to this public IP address. Okay, and then what is happening, since Nginx is hosting some web pages. Actually, we know that the websites always will be accessed by the port number 80, right? Port number 80. Then what happened? He has to provide you on which port number it is running. So you can access with the help of a port number 80. Now what happened, right? Basically, whenever he's sending a request to this, it means that whenever he is trying to do some kind of a HTTP request onto this IP address colon port number, or else in the command line when he's trying to run a curl command onto it, okay, you can access in any way, right? So what happened, right? The request, what happened? The request will come to the server actually because you are using a public IP, right? Because this is a public IP, right? This is a public IP. And through the public IP, we know that the public IP is mapped to your private IP address of your server. And through the private IP address, what happened, right? You will be, the request will be forwarded to that container where your application is running, where it has exposed the port number 80. So now what happened, right? Port forward is something like where you have to pass two things actually. One is nothing but your Docker host IP colon with the port number. Okay, okay, and you have to mention the container port IP with the port number. This is the format actually. I think 1 second. Okay, let me do this. Let me write down one more time. So let me write down here. So Docker host or nothing but the server IP with the port number 80, okay, map to the container IP with the port actually. So this is nothing but your host ID or the host information, and this is nothing but your container information. So what I'm trying to say that basically when you're trying to run any kind of a container where you are running some kind of a website, basically what happened, right? You need to enable a port mapping. You have to enable while running this container. Like here, when I'm trying to run a container, what I do basically I run a Docker container run, okay, hyphen D detach mode, hyphen name, something if I give web one, and if I am using any kind of a web server, basically like a web server, what I have to do that I have to always expose it. It means that I have to like I have to use some kind of a port mapping. So I will use a hyphen cap p option, okay, and what I will do, I'll just say 80 colon 80, and then I will do something like an nginx actually. So here what happened, hyphen p stands for port mapping. Hyphen p means port mapping. Now, when you're trying to do a port mapping, guys, with a small lowercase letter, okay, lowercase letter, how it does basically is that actually that, right? How it in turn converts it basically, because when you're using a port map, you have to use a host port, and this is nothing but the container port. Host port is 80. It means that when a user is trying to access this nginx container which is running, he has to first provide what is the host port ID through which he is able to access it. So it is this the first 8 is nothing but your Docker host port number, and this colon 80 is nothing but your containers port number actually, right? So this 80 is nothing but your, I can say, server port, and the second 80, whatever you are having, is nothing but it is a container port, right? Or else you can do one thing, you can run the same image with this command, Docker container run hyphen D hyphen name web2 hyphen p, okay, 3600 colon 80, and just say nginx. So what you're doing here, guys, you are providing, this is nothing but your server port, which is nothing but 3600 server port, or nothing but your Docker host port, and this 80 is nothing but it is a container port. Same thing. So here what happened, I'm just giving 8080, but I can give anything. So basically, whenever you are trying to call a server port, this should be an ephemeral port. It means that this should be a freely available port. So what are the port you're using, like 3600? This should be an ephemeral port. Ephemeral port, or nothing but it should be a free port. So we know that the port number 1 to 1024 ports are reserved actually. We cannot use these ports actually. About above 1024, like 1025, right? To the 65,535 ports are free actually. There are free ports. So we can use these ports actually for a requirement. Since here in this case I'm using 80 port, 80 port is also used, but 80 port is basically used for you are accessing any kind of a web pages. So 80 port I can use it actually. No doubt, because 80 is meant for you to use for accessing any kind of a web pages or website, right? Whereas apart from that, I cannot use a 12, 10, 11, 19, 20. I cannot use it because those are all reserved ports. I cannot use it like that, right? Apart from this 80, suppose you don't want to use 80, you want to use some kind of a free ports, then you can use a free port from 1025 to 65,535. Any of the ports you can use it. Here I'm using 3600 ports. You might see in the real time something like container, a Docker container. You will also see something like this. Like you will be accessing something like this. Docker, you will also see something Docker container run -d -fn name web3. Okay, I will use something -p. Okay, 5000 port map to 80, something like that. You will be seeing this also. So again, the same thing as here, 5000 is a freely available port. You can use any port, right? So this is nothing but your host port or the server port, and this is nothing but your container port. Right. Suppose in case I'm running an image, I'm running this, I created this Nginx image with this command actually. With this command, I created this image actually. It means that I'm running the Nginx image with this command. Docker container run -d -fn name web2 -p 3600:80. Right. When I'm running this container, it means that this container has exposed whatever the contents running, it is exposed to the port number 80. Right now, a user, what you do, he's sitting in his laptop and he want to access the content which is running his Nginx port. So basically what happened, right, he will try to go and he will try to hit the public IP address of this Docker host. So what you do is just say http colon public IP of the server and colon, he will try to hit to the port number 3600 like this. So when you try to send a request, basically what happened, your request will go to your public IP of your server, and from there what happened, the request will be forwarded, it will be mapped to your private IP, and through the private IP what happened, the request will go and it will go and it will hit to this container onto the port number 80. So if you're using this HTTP in your browser, you will see that whatever the page is there, right? Whatever the website page there, that will get loaded into your browser actually. So basically, what happened? Why we use this port forwarding? Because whenever user want to access any kind of a website, particularly for example, any kind of a web-based related thing, he want to access it from the outside, he want to access it, like basically we have some kind of a, we need to enable the port forwarding. Without the port forwarding, we will not be able to access any kind of a website. Similarly, for example, if I'm running any kind of a database, if I'm running a container which is having database, and for example MySQL database you're running, so you say that Rajesh, I am running a database and that database can be accessed with the help of a 3600 port, right? So do you have to do any kind of a port forwarding and all for accessing? No, because database is something where you are maintaining your database and you are maintaining all kind of a data. So for you to access it, you don't access your database through the browser, right? We basically access your browser through logging inside the MySQL database and then do the operation. There, in that case, when you're trying to run any kind of a Docker container where you're running a MySQL database, you don't want to do any kind of a port forwarding. That and all is not required. Port forwarding is only used when you want to access any kind of a website sitting from outside. Is it fine, sir? Is it fine, guys? Now, if you see here, if you try to see here, now watch carefully. When I try to do a Docker container run -d -fn name web -capital P, if I give, right? I didn't give any port also. I didn't give any kind of a server port or the container port. See, you could see that I didn't give anything. For here in the small p, I gave both. I have to give container port as well as your server port. Both need to be provided. But for example, for here, when you are trying to give a capital P, it means that you will not be giving any details. So automatically it will take this FRM port as your server port, okay, and you can access with any kind of an IP address. Anyone can able to access your this one by, okay, that's what you would say that this is the IP colon the port is 32768. That will be redirected to your containers port number 80. So hence what happened, right? If I go over here and if I try to take a I'll try to copy the public IP and go and hit to the public IP with the port number, what is it? 32768, 32768. You could see that you'll be able to access this web page. So I'll copy this one, guys. Try to copy this. And you can please access, can you please access the same site by hitting this? See, let me paste in the chat. Just try to hit, guys, just try to hit this URL in your browser and see whether you are able to access it or not, this page. Could you please confirm me? Are you able to load this, guys? Please copy that URL and paste it in your browser. Yes, you're able to access it. Okay. Now the thing is that here, guys, what happened, right? When you are trying to give a port actually hyphen capital P, you're not deciding it. It itself will take the 32768 colon. It also takes the port number 80 also, because we know that we're using Nginx actually, and Nginx, what happened, usually we are hosting some website actually. So automatically what happened, it try to take the port number 80 itself automatically. It doesn't take any other port. It will try to take port 80 because hyphen P is meant for port mapping to the port number 80 itself. That's what it will take it. For example, you say that Rajesh, I want to run my application, but I want to access this website has to be accessed only by my server only. Only by my server only. It means that it should be accessed only by my server only. It means that here what happened, okay, then in that case what happened, guys, you have to just say my info IP. This is my IP actually. This is my IP. Okay. So what I will do that, I will try to run the same container one more time. I'll give web2 and I will give something like a hyphen small p. I will give the my system's IP address colon. I have to give something like 3600 already is used actually. I will do something like a 5000. Okay. Colon port number 80 I will give, and I will give the Nginx. Okay. Cannot request it for the assigned TCP. Why is it?
Sir, it is 500.
Oh, sorry. Docker container ls is running. Uh, yeah. Web 2 is already used. Okay, I'll give some other name. Web 3. TCP cannot, you cannot bind this actually. Okay, or else let me take a public copy of this IP of my server. What is it actually? Hyphen P. This one, port number, right, and then run it. Why you can't access it, man? Why you can't bind it? I'm doing any mistake. Uh, I think I'm doing some mistake, guys. I have to give this. This is the right syntax. Yes, it's the right syntax. Colon 80. Then in that case, I think there's some syntax mistake. I will try to check that, but you can do it. What I'm trying to say in this case, only I will be able to access this website. You can't access this website if you try to give like this actually, because whenever this IP address with this colon 5000 hit right, it will redirect to your content which is running. So I'll give this proper command in the next class. Okay, let us not waste our time because I have to dig and I have to check it. It will take time actually. So now what I'm trying to say here that actually that you are running your container to try to do a container Docker container ls, you could see that your Nginx is running actually, and it can be accessed via with help of this Any IP colon with the 3276. If you try to hit this, it will be redirect. That request will be redirect to your container, edges container, where right some kind of a web is running actually, or some kind of a website is running actually. Now my question is that Rajesh, can I run this website inside my Nginx? Yeah, you can run it, right? So if you try to do a Docker, if I say exec, I want to get inside the container, I'll just say Docker exec -it. What is it? Image name web1 and /bin/bash. So you are running inside, you are inside it. So let us try to quickly run this sudo apt update and all. So I'll just say apt update, and then like you can use this nginx, all these commands you can install it. App install. I'll just directly try to take this complete command. So you're installing all these three packages, nginx, wget, as well as you're also installing your uh, unzip also. After that, let me try to do a wget of this command. Copy it, run it. So trying to download the template, some kind of a Zay shopping, right? So you could see that actually you have downloaded your temp. So I think I have to rename that one. Move the templato to templato dot zip file. Yeah. Now you have to do an unzip command, templato. So you have unzipped it. Fine, sir. Once you unzip it, basically what you do, basically, right, you have to go and copy the whole content into your /www.html, right? So get inside that templato folder. Here you have all those CSS file, HTML files. Try to copy cp-r. I'll just say star everything, or you can say dot from everything from here, where you have to copy /www.html. You have to copy the whole content, right? Why it is /www.html? So you installed it, right? App install nginx-y. So why it is not there? It is not there, right? So what you can do basically, guys, you can even copy your whole thing. If not, I think USR share. What is it? Nginx. So what is it? HTML, right? Here you have it. Yeah, you can copy it here actually. So you can go back to your this one, copy everything to the /USR share nginx and HTML. You can copy here everything, right? And if you go inside this /USR share nginx HTML, you could see that you have copied all the content. Am I clear, sir? Right? Now, if you try to go and access the same thing, because go and just refresh this page. Now you could see that your Zay shopping page has been loaded, right? So this is what we have seen in the last session also, right? So could you please try to hit this same URL, guys? I'm again giving in our chat actually. Just check whether you're able to access this application. By hitting the same URL, you will be able to access the same web page, right? So now, right? So let me exit out from it. So if you execute Docker container or Docker PS, you could see that your image is still running, right? Or your content is still running actually. You can even do the Docker commit command. We know that in today's morning, I use this Docker command, Docker also, right? Docker commit and give your content ID or image name, something like web1. And then like what is the image you're going to give? What is the commit? What is the name you're going to give? You'll give something like this is a Zay, right? So I'll just say Zay :1.0, something. I will give this version. So what you're doing, guys, you're trying to create one more image actually, right? So when I try to do a Docker image ls, you could see that actually you got one more image with the name Zay 1.0 version, right? You got one more image with this name. So Rajesh, can I run this image actually? Can I run this with this new image actually? Yeah, you can run it. What is there? So you can do the same thing. You can say Docker. Uh, container run hyphen d hyphen fn name. I'll give something like uh, z z1.0 something z1, okay, or z1 hyphen capital P port mapping, and then like I will give something like a z colon 1.0. That's the image name, right? Right, this is the image name, right? Your colon 1.0, same thing you are giving it here. So enter. Now you could see that, guys, Docker container ls. You could see that your J application is image also running inside a container, and you could see that you'll be able to access it with the help of a 32769 port number. So go here and try to copy the whole thing. Open one more browser and just try 32769. See, you're able to access your application. Am I clear, sir, till here? Is it fine? Now the question comes, Rajesh, you have run you have run this application, this website application, by using this simple Docker command, okay, and by extracting whatever you want to extract it, right? You basically what you did that you followed the steps actually. You followed these manual steps to do all these operations. Correct, guys? You followed all these steps actually to do it, right? You followed all these manual steps. Can I do the same thing for writing a Docker file? Now the thing is that now this is a manual thing you did. It means that you use some kind of a base Nginx, right? After that you run a container Nginx, and then like you try to get login inside this Nginx container, and then try to do all the steps, installing all these commands, all this package, everything, and try to make your application website available, right? You also ran, you also created a, you also run with the port map also, right? With the hyphen capital P option, so that the port map forwarding will get enabled and you will be able to access from setting from outside. So all these things were done by you. Yeah, manually it was done by you. But anyhow, now you have hosted your website. Now my content, my requirement is that can I able to write, can I Dockerize the same website using a Docker file? Yes, you can do with the help of a Docker file. So what I'm doing here, we'll come back here. We'll see that this is a website and this is what the Docker file which I'm writing here. Right. Now, whenever you want to start with a Docker file, basically, guys, you should, the first instruction, what you use a Docker instruction is a from command or the from instruction what we use. Now, if you go to your Docker reference file here, references, you could see that there is something like a from is there. What the from? Create a new build image from the base image. Basically, here you have to choose some base image actually, some kind of a base image. Because you want to host your website, you can use the base image as something like an Nginx, because Nginx by default the image comes where the Docker hub.docker.com or nothing but your registry itself will provide some kind of a base image which we call the Nginx. So I can use my Nginx with the help of this from instruction actually. So what is the syntax? If you click on this from, you could see that from, and then you have to specify the platform. You can even mention the platform also. What is this platform? We'll see it later. And then you have to specify the image name. Something like I'll use something like Nginx. Okay. You can, or else you can use the same thing with the help of a colon tag name. Say for example, you have something Nginx colon 1.4 something. Yeah, I can give this tag name. It means that I need a specific version of that Nginx I wanted. So you have to put something as a tag actually. In this case, as you know that if you're not mentioning anything like a colon and specific tag, it will by default take latest as a tag actually. But here you can mention the tag. What is this as name? We will discuss it later. Don't worry now as of now. Okay. Or else what happened, right? You can also use from, and you can even mention the platform if you want. Others you can leave it, and you can use an image instead of tag or without instead. There is something a digest is there. You can even use this also. What is this digest? Also we will discuss in a some class in after some session. Not now. So as of now, what I will do that I will be plainly using this the from command by just specifying the image name. That's all. I'll not even give any kind of a tag. I'll not even use something like a digest in today's session itself or in the first session. We'll just try to plainly give the provide the image name itself. Okay. Of course, if you come down, guys, you'll get several information about what are the things which are there as part of this from. What are all the parameter you can pass. along with the from and everything. There are many things are there. We can go through it. We will let us slowly go one by one, right? Now what I will do that basically I will try to go here, okay, and I will try to go, okay. So what I will do basically, guys, I will try to go with writing a Docker file here. So I'll just say from, and I'll just say nginx. I'll try to write. I'll say nginx. Now here, what happened, guys? Because you are using these instructions, actually, you are using these instructions. What is the instruction using? You are using a wget command. You want to have this package, everything, and you should also extract it. You are doing not .zip, sorry. You're extracting, you're doing a few things over here also, right? So you might say that, Rajesh, it means that wherever you're creating this Docker file, you are creating the Docker file here, right? Inside the website here, you are creating Docker file. Do you need that this same stuff here also? Whatever you're doing, like whatever you're doing here, for example, you are trying to do a wget of this. Do you want to have same even in your virtual, in your machine also? Yes, sir, we need to have it because you are building everything here itself, right? Or else wherever you're building it, there you need to have it actually. Am I clear, sir? Am I clear, sir? So now what I will do that? Okay, I'll do one thing, Rajesh. I'll open one. I'll open the Git bash here. Okay. Yeah, here I will do it. So what I will do that I will use a wget command and I will follow this instruction what you are using here. Like same thing. Yeah. Oh, wget command is not there. So what you do that you have to because this is a Windows, right? A Windows you can't have wget. So app install. I doubt whether you will be able to install it on in this way. App command is not there, so you can't install it, guys. So what you can do that basically like you can go here. Basically you can go and you can click on it. So basically what happened? You have to just manually download it. See, you could see that you started downloading manually, right? After downloading manually, why it is taking so long time? Okay. So downloading it manually, guys. Okay. And then what happened that you will go to your download folder where the download has happened. Try to bring that folder here in this path and then extract it yourself and keep it ready. Right. So here, let the download happens. So you could see that the download is not yet completed here. Yeah, it is completed here. So what I will do that I will try to go and I will try to just refresh this again one more time. Try to go here, just cut it, come over here and just paste it here. And then try to do a unzipping actually. Extract everything. So you'll get a folder here like this. You'll get a folder here like this. And this folder contains all the things, right? This folder contains all the things. So let me do one thing. Let me cut it again. Go back here and paste it here so that you will get this content. Okay. Let us do one thing. Let me remove this. Okay. What I'll do for simplicity, what I will do that I will rename this whole folder as something like HTML. Am I clear, sir? So if you go here, you could see that you got one folder by name HTML. Inside that you have all these files actually, all your website. Yeah. So it means that, Rajesh, first I'm using a Nginx image, and then basically what happened, right? You need to copy this whole content of this into my Nginx image under which path? /usr share Nginx HTML. Right. For that, guys, what you do that there is an instruction by name add instruction is there. If you go to the add, see, if you go to the add, or else you can go to the left side. If you come over here, can you see something like add instruction is there? Yeah, add is there. What add says that you can add, you can provide an option, you can provide source, and you can provide destination. So this is the syntax for the add instruction actually. It means that, Rajesh, I want to copy the content of this HTML folder, everything under my Nginx image actually. For that, you need to use something as add command or add instruction. So what you want to copy it? I want to copy the whole content of HTML like this. Where you need to copy? Because under the Nginx image, guys, you have something like a /usr share Nginx, and then inside that there is something like HTML. Then inside that I want to copy the whole content. The way we did it manually, right? If you see, these are the manual instruction which I did earlier, right? What I did, I copied the whole content, not here actually, into the /usr share Nginx and HTML. This is what the path you this is what where you copied it. Same thing I'm doing here inside the Docker file. So either you can do this way, or else some people will do something like dot slash. It means from my present directory, there is a folder by name HTML. Under that, what are the content is there? I want to copy to this slash user share engineering system. And after that, what you do that, I will remove it. I'll do one thing. I'll try to use some other extension on the expose and port number 80. So if I'm not using it explicitly, it will expose it. But anyhow, I'm using this instruction on the expose 80. So what expose will do that? We know that expose basically, if you know that, if you come down here, you know that there is something like an expose. Where is it? Actually, expose. So you want to expose is some port number, then you have to use the expose instruction actually. Like how you did like a port mapping here, according to a diagram, you did a port mapping. Similarly, like when you want to expose that application to a certain port number, we use something like an expose instruction and specify the port number. Am I clear, sir? So Rajesh, can I do the same thing in my server here? Yes, you can do in the server also. So I'll go here, right? What I will do, guys, I will try to create one folder, mkdir. What is the folder? What is the folder name I created? Dockerfile images. The same thing I'll create it. Dockerfile hyphen images. Okay. Go to the Dockerfile images ls. Here, what I will do that I will try to create one file. Touch Dockerfile. Yes, but I need this whole folder actually. Okay, Rajesh, I know that you want to extract it. You want to download, right? So I have this command now. Try to use this wget command. Yeah, go here, try to run this wget command. Okay, so before that, let me use a sudo command and do a wget. So you are trying to download it. How come, guys? We 1 hour went off, but I I feel like I just started now only. It took a lot of time, right? Because I just covered only 5% of today's session, whatever I've done. There are so many things are there. I thought I'll cover it. Okay. It is taking time, man. Badly. Okay. Now I have this. I have to do small changes here. Uh, Move this template to template.zip file, right? And then like you have to do an unzip. We know this now. Template unzip command. Okay, I have to just sudo apt update. Sudo apt update is already run. Sudo apt install unzip command. You run the to do a sudo apt update. Let me go, guys.
No, I see.
Guys, are you able to hear me?
No, no, no.
Oh God, I lost the connection.
Now, fine.
Oh man. I lost the connection, guys. There was a network down happened actually, all of the sudden. So, guys, is it fine now? Are you able to hear me?
Yes, Rajesh.
Oh God, we lost the connection, man. So let me do it again. Okay. Sudo apt update and apt sudo apt install unzip hyphen y. Even today also, I was seeing a lot of fluctuation in the network, guys. Afternoon also, right? So unzip is there. Let me quickly do an unzip command. Sudo unzip and specify templato.zip. You extracted it. So this is a folder. Let me do one thing. Let me remove the templato.zip file and let me rename this templato folder to an HTML folder. So now you could see that you are having the same thing. The way I'm having here, like HTML is there, Dockerfile is there, same thing you're having here also, right? So here what happened, let me open the Docker file, right? And then what I will do that, I will go to the insert mode, just copy this command or copy these 3 lines. That's all. Copy this command and paste it and save this file. Am I clear, sir? Right? Okay. Now, so what we did basically, guys, to Dockerize it, to containerize the above, okay, the above, we need to build the Docker. We need to build a Docker and ensure you are in the same folder where Docker file exists and execute the below command. So what is the command you have to run for creating an image? You have to just use a command docker image, okay, build command with the -t option. With what name you want to get it, because it is a website, right? This is a website Z. Let me do one thing, Rajesh. Let me get something like a Z image actually, okay, with something with some tag, something like one, something I will use, and I'll just say dot. Dot means let it search the file with the name Docker file in the present working directory. That's what you have to mention as a dot. Because if you go here, your Docker file is there in your present directory only. So whenever you are building it, you have to use a Docker image build -t, specify your image name, colon, give the tag. So I'm giving some tag, and dot means in my present working directory, search for a file by name Docker file. So when I try to copy this command, so I have to copy the command, and when I paste it and when I run it, see here. So you could see that it is building an image actually. Am I clear, sir? Am I clear? Now when I try to do a Docker image ls, you could see that you are having an image by name Z11, right? With this name you build, right? You created, right? See, with this name you build, right? You have this image actually. Am I clear, sir? To avoid the confusion, guys, let me do one thing. Docker image ls, Docker image rm-f, remove all these things to avoid any kind of a confusion for you guys. So that there will not be any kind of a confusion for you. How to remove auto shot all the commands? I will tell you. Auto shot, you want to remove everything means you can use like this actually. Docker image -q. Okay. Image, what is it? -qa, right? Not now. What is it? Command man. Even I have forgotten. Docker image ls. ls-q. You will get all the images actually. You get all the image IDs, right? And right now you want to remove it actually. Then you have to use a Docker image rm-f $of, open the bracket, use this command like this and close this. This will remove all your image actually. So when I try to do a Docker image ls, because Nginx is running, guys, that's what it did, remove it, right? Because image is running as part of this, right? That's what it is not running. Suppose, for example, if I try to run a Docker image, Docker container ls, these two are running. If I try to stop it, so I'll just say Docker container rm-f, forcibly kill this. So you're killing it. Now, if you try to do a Docker container ls, nothing is there. Now, if I want to remove all the images, you could see that you can run this command. Now, if you try to do a Docker image ls, now you could see that actually all your all your images have been removed. Right? So what are the commands, guys, we executed for deleting all the containers? So basically we have to use this. So note, this command is used to remove all the images, from the Docker, from Docker server. This is a command you have to use it. Now, since I removed everything, guys, let me build that image one more time. So I have to run the same command, docker image -t. This time I'll give something like 1.0. I'll give like this and then like dot, right? Let me copy this whole command and come over to the server and try to run it actually. Try to run it. So now you could see that you're building an image actually, right? So when I try to do docker image ls, now you could see that you're having something like a z1.0. Am I clear, sir? So Rajesh, I want to run this application. Yes, you can run this image actually. How do you run it? You have to just say docker container run -f name and then say something like something. You can say z1 or z application -d detach mode -capital P port mapping. What is the image name? z:1.0, right? That's a image name, right? z:1.0, right? Yeah, you are giving it. And now just run this. Now you could see that docker container ls. Now you could see that it is running. And you could see that it is using port number 32700. So what you will do, you will go over here, try to copy your public IP, hit here with the port number 32700. 32770. See, you're able to access your application. So now the same application which you tried to do all these things by executing these instructions actually or by executing these commands earlier, now you're able to do everything by writing a Docker file. So what is the Docker file content? Docker file content. This is the content actually. Only some 3 lines of code you have to. So till here, are you okay?
Yes, Rajesh, is it possible the container have any IP whether to access application?
Container will
Irrespective
have
of
an IP, sir. Without IP, how you will be able to access, right?
no. I meant to say we are accessing through a public IP, right? Means
Hmm.
host IP, right? Is
Right.
it possible to
Hmm.
access
Because, sir,
using
we don't have a direct access. See, sir, how
oh,
we can able to access the container? We'll be able to access a container with the help of our
host
Docker
IP?
server host itself
Yeah,
actually. Because the Docker container is running inside it, inside this server, and the Docker container will have a IP. That's a private IP. You cannot hit to a private IP, right? Directly, right? Because you cannot access the application inside running container where the container is having a private IP. So there is no possibility to access directly through that actually, sitting from outside. So what you have
okay.
to do that you have to enable the port mapping and you have to hit to your public IP address of the Docker server with some port number with which, and then that will the request will be redirected to your container which is running actually.
Yeah, okay, right. Yeah.
That is what we learned about something as a port mapping, right? So here when you're trying to hit with this public IP with the port number 32770, right? 32770, right? These are public IPs. You are sitting here, you're hitting it actually. So the request will go like this. It will go and it will go to your it'll go and it'll send it'll try to redirect the request to your private IP address of your server. From the private IP, what happened? It will go and it'll try to access your Nginx actual server where the port number 80 is exposed, right? Where and then it will go and access this port number 80. In the port number 80, what happened? Your application will be available. It will be the HTML pages are loaded and it is exposed to the port number 80. So when you're trying to hit it, actually, whatever the templates are there, or whatever the HTML templates are there, that will get loaded in your browser. Like this, how it is loaded, right? The whole browser, the whole template has got loaded into your browser actually. So you're able to access your HTML web page by using this way of doing a port forwarding actually. So as I said earlier, port forwarding is only used for accessing your website actually. You cannot use port forwarding for accessing a database. You cannot use port forwarding for using some for some other purposes. No, that we don't use it. We always use port forwarding for only accessing the websites or the web applications. Am I clear, sir? Okay, good. Okay. Now the thing is that, fine, this is okay, Rajesh. This is what something you have it, right? Or else, for example, assume that I remember that you also run one application of the Spring Pet Clinic. You remember, guys? I run some application of Spring Pet Clinic. So you'll say that Rajesh, I want to run the Spring Pet Clinic. I want to build an image where my Spring Pet Clinic, my Spring Pet Clinic jar is that should run as a part of your container. It means that I need to containerize. So now the question comes that the second question comes that actually I need to containerized. I to containerized where containerized where the Spring Pet Clinic application runs. App runs. So it means that basically I have to write a Docker file for doing that actually. Now, so how to do that actually basically guys? Yeah, you can, so what I have to do means if you go to my download folder here, in the download folder, I have the Spring Pet Clinic jar file is there. Okay, Rajesh, this somehow I have to copy into this server. I have to copy into this server. I have to place somewhere. Assume that I'm keeping under the temp directory. I want to keep that Spring Pet Clinic. Okay, you can copy it also. You can use an SCP command to copy it, right? Or else what I have did, right? I in my cloud account, what I did, I went to the S3 bucket or S3 storage. So I'll try to open the S3 storage. Inside the S3 storage, you can see that I've created a bucket with the name SPC reference. So click on this. You could see that this jar file is there already. Right? This jar file is there. Now, if you go here and if you copy this URL, right? So here what happened? I have placed my bucket here. Sorry, the jar file here. So Rajesh, can I use a wget command to do it? Yeah, you can copy this like this. Go to your Linux machine. You are under temp directory. You can do anywhere, or else I can do here itself actually. Under Dockerfile, under Dockerfile images, I can have one more. I can create one more directory like this. mkdir spc. Okay, I'll go inside spc. Here I can use a wget command, right, and give that URL. See, you are able to download your Spring Pet Clinic. See, you have that jar file now. So guys, even you can do it because I have given this jar file as a public itself because anybody can download the jar file. Right. Now my question comes, Rajesh, I need to Dockerize where my Spring Pet Clinic works actually inside a container now. So it means that Rajesh, I want to create a Dockerfile, yes, for your Spring Pet Clinic. Right? So manually, how you used to run it, guys? You remember the manual steps for or the manual steps to run this application is first what happened that you need to ensure that you need to have a JDK 17 Java 17 version installed, and after you have Java JDK, what you run a command java-jar command and give the Spring Pet Clinic, right? Spring Pet Clinic, right? This is what you give this jar file actually like this. Then what happened? Your SP your Spring Pet Clinic will start running actually. It will start running. Am I clear, sir? And always, whenever you want to access your Spring Pet Clinic, it is exposed to the port number 8080. So, with the help of a port number 8080, you will be able to access your Spring Pet Clinic application. Okay, so this Spring Pet Clinic SPC application runs on port 8080. Am I clear, sir? Right? Now, the question comes that, Rajesh, how I'll be able to do the same thing in a Docker file? This is a manual thing which you can do in a server. Suppose if I go here, now I have this jar file. So Rajesh, do you have the Java command here? No man, Java is not there. Let me install Java command sudo apt install open JDK 17 hyphen JDK hyphen Y. See, you are installing the Java package, right? And the 17 version you are installing it. So guys, are you feeling bored? Or you're learning something? How is it? Are you feeling very difficult to understand? So I'm just trying to do comparison, guys. Just manually what I'm doing. The same thing how I'm doing with the help of a Docker file. That's what I'm doing. I'm not doing any big thing. So I'm just showing you how the same thing happens when you try to write a Docker file actually. Okay. So now, so you have a Java installed, right? Now you will say that Rajesh, I want to run this jar file. I'll use the Java command with hyphen jar, right? And give the Spring Pit cleaning and say enter. So you could see that actually you are running your application. Correct, guys? You are running your Spring Pit Link application. So it has started. See, it is running, and you could see that it uses the port number 8080. By default, it uses a port number 8080. So how to access this application? Go here, try to copy your public IP address of your Docker server. Copy this public IP. Come over here, hit with the port number 8080. You could see that your Spring Pet Link application will be loaded. So where I'm running all these things in our server only. I'm running in the Docker server only. That I don't want, man. All this just we are doing it. I don't want that. Let me do a control C so that I'll kill this actually. So you kill that application, right? Now you say that Rajesh, I want to make it Dockerize actually. Yeah, Dockerize, I can write it. So what happened, right? Now I need to Dockerize it. I need to Dockerize means I need to containerize it actually. Containerize. So to containerize actually, like you need to write a Docker file. Okay. For the Docker file, what you have to do, Rajesh? I have to use the firm instruction. Okay. So I need to choose some base image where I will get a Java 17 actually. For that, if you go to your hub.docker.com, if you go to the hub.docker.com, this is your nothing but your repository, right? And if you search for something known as an OpenJDK, like this, okay, enter, you could see that you get an official image of the OpenJDK. You will also get an OpenJDK 17 version also, you will get it actually. So here it is not showing, but you will get something as a 17 version also. So Rajesh, can I use a 17 version? Yes, sir, you can use it. So I'll just say open JDK colon 17 version. Yeah, I can use this tag actually, right? And then I need to copy your Spring Plate Clinic, which is there in my S3 bucket. Here I'm having the S3 bucket. So this is a URL actually. I want to copy it. Then what happened? In case of a instruction, you have something as an add command is there. Add is there, right? Add is there. If you go to the add, guys, what add will do that basically you can provide the source as a URL. It means that suppose you want to download any kind of a file from your website or somewhere in the internet, you can use this add command. So add command has two forms. Okay, one is the thing what it has this src source and destination. Source can be a local itself, or it can have something known as a website or the URL from where you can copy it. So what I will do, I'll use the same add command here. I will use something add and specify this whole URL like this. I'll go to the S3 bucket and I'll copy this URL, paste it here like this. So where you want to copy, Rajesh, I want to copy under the slash, and I want to, what name you have to keep? I have to keep this name as a jar like this. Copy it, keep here under the. So it means that basically under this image, OpenJDK image, you are trying to run an add command. What you're trying to do that you are trying to download from this path and insert this image under the slash you're pasting here or you're copying here as a jar file here. Okay. After that, what you do? Basically, you try to do an expose and port number 8080. And after that, we have to run this application, right? Like how the way I run it, right? In case of a Docker file, there is something like a CMD command is there. So CMD space, you need to mention something like this. Java, comma, hyphen jar, comma, and specify this Spring Petlink jar file. This is what you do it, guys. Okay, so what you're doing here, you're using the from image, you are using some basic open JDK colon 70. Because why you're using this image, guys? Because this image by default it has a JDK installed along with it. That's what I'm using this image directly. And after that, I'm using an add command, giving this complete path information. This is a source actually. This is a source. And destination is where I'm copying under the slash. Inside this OpenJDK, there's a slash in there. There I'm copying this jar file. So if you go back here and if you go to your Docker file, you could see that source is nothing but your entire URL and the destination, but the path where you want to copy it. So I have copied under the slash itself actually. After that, what I'm doing that I'm exposing the to the port number 880 because this application is it is exposed on this port number 880, and later I want to run this application, right? Then it means that I have to call a CMD command and I need to pass all these parameters for doing it. Some people, what they do, right? They can even run like this also, but this is not the recommendable way, like this. You can do this way also, but this is not the correct way. This is not recommended. But still, if you ask me, Rajesh, will it runs with the CMD jar like this also? Whether my application runs? Yeah, it runs, guys. It will run, no doubt. But it is not the correct way actually. You have to use bracket and you have to use quotes and all along that. You have to separate all these three strings like with the three quotes actually with the comma separated like this. You have to use inside a CMD. Why we have to do that? Why we have to do this way? I'll explain in my next session. Not now. Right? Some people they say that actually, Rajesh, can I use the same thing for running my application using entry point? Yes, you can use also the entry point also. So now the question comes, what is the difference between CMD versus entry point? Yeah, we need to understand that also. Can I use a combination of CMD and entry point in my same Docker file? Yes, you can use both also. Then what is the significance of using both? If I already have a CMD which can run my application, then why I have an entry point? If the entry point is there, why I have to use both? In which state or in why? What is the usage of using both CMD and entry point? Firstly, we have to understand the difference, and then we'll also know that why CMD and entry points are there, and how we can use both in the same Docker file. Suppose I have to use the CMD as well as entry point. Can I use it? Yes, you can use it. Okay. Why we do that way? Yes, we will learn slowly all these things in our upcoming session. Don't worry. These are the questions which they'll ask in interview. Whatever I said, right? Why you have both? Okay, why entry point came to the picture, right? CMD alone can work it. Yeah, entry point, a new instruction has come now. Okay, what is the difference between that and how we can use both of them, entry point and CMD, in the same Docker file? These are certain obvious questions will be asked by the interview. And I told already in the morning show that to just confuse you, they will ask you like these questions actually. And your understanding or your clarity should be very clear, guys. When you want to understand the CMD and entry point, right, you need to know like under which stage we are using both the things, why we are using both the things, and all. Your clarity should be, I mean, your understanding should be very clear, so that there should not be any kind of a if buts while answering any question to the interviewer, because he will try to trap you or confuse you. Don't get confused. Your thought or your idea should be very clear. So we will try to run so many, we will try to understand in a very detailed way about CMD and entry point in our next session or tomorrow's session. We'll try to learn that. Right. So now what happened, right? So this is, so you will say that, Rajesh, shall I write a Docker file with this? Yes, sir. You can write this Docker file with this. Definitely it will run it actually. So shall we run this now, or you will be able to run this, or you will be able to do it actually? Okay, let us do one thing, guys. Let us try to see this later now. So later, in some time, in another half an hour or so, I will come across the same thing where you will be learning more about this add from expose and all, and then CMD and all, because we need to go detailing line by line now, because I'm using the from instruction. Yes, I need to understand a little bit deeper way about what is from instruction. Okay. What is an add? I need to learn. What is an add? And there is something like a copy is there. I have to learn it. Okay. What is expose, Rajesh? I have to understand. What is a CMD, Raj? You have to understand. What is the entry point? You have to understand. Now I'll be doing one thing. Now I'll be running each and I'll be explaining you each and every command or each and every Docker instruction in a detailed manner. We'll learn it so that we'll get a complete picture. So now what I will do that, guys, I will stop the session now. Now our our next session will be we'll continue the discussing about each and every Docker instruction and why we have this Docker instructions in one level deeper way. We'll try to learn it actually, and what are the options you can pass along with this. For example, from you can even pass something like hyphen platform, and also you can pass something like a tag without tag, and with something like a digest, and something like as I use, right, something like this we use it. What is it all about? We have to learn step by step now. Now your question comes, Rajesh, whatever you have written this way, okay, can I copy paste the same thing and create a Docker file and run it? Yeah, you can run it, man, no problem. It works. Can I build this image? Yeah, you can build it. Can I run this application? Can I run that image after creating an image? Yeah, you can run it, no problem. This will work, 100% work. But what I'm saying that I will do all these things in the next class now. Right? I will reiterate the same thing and we'll try to create an image and run that image and see that your Spring Pet Clinic application works actually. And obviously, when you try to run this, obviously you have to enable the port mapping, right? Obviously, when you're trying to run the image, you have to use a Docker container run hyphen contain hyphen if a name, and you have to give it, and you have to use a hyphen p option also. You have to use it like this. How we created like this, right? You have to use a hyphen p option for this also because this is a web application, right? Spring Pet is a web application. You can able to access sitting from outside whenever you have enabled the port forwarding actually. Yeah, obviously when you're running the application, you have to use hyphen capital P or small p, whatever you have to use it actually. Right? Fine, guys. With that, we will stop today's session. Okay. What we'll do, guys, tomorrow I will continue in the morning time. Okay, but not very early, like 8 o'clock. Tomorrow also I have to go to the temple, so I will go to the temple and come back. And probably I think by 11 or 11:30 I should start the class. 11 o'clock I think you can expect me to be back. I think by 10 only I'll be back, but I'll take 1 hour rest. And at around 11 o'clock I'll start the class tomorrow. So tomorrow's session will be Docker day 9 session. We're going to continue, and we're going to continue from here itself. We're going to continue from the instruction itself, right? What are the Docker instructions? And we'll go one level deeper in all these instructions. Okay. So guys, any questions so far till now? Whatever we had discussed, did you understood the whole flow of everything? Whatever. Some of the things were repetitive. I know that because we tried to take a reference from the previous session. But it is something like we did something like a quick recap of running everything manually, and now we are trying to convert everything into the Docker file. So now going forward, we will not do any kind of a manual stuff. We will start writing for every requirement. We will be writing only Dockerfile only. It means that I need to know what the Dockerfile is all about. I need to know what are the Docker instruction I have to use it. What's the base image I have to use it. What is the add? What is the copy? I have to know what is exposed. Whether I need to use CMD or entry point, even that also I should know. There is something like a label is there. I need to know what is the label. There is something like health check is there. Oh, I need to learn about the health check. Okay. There are many Docker instructions are there which we will be using in our upcoming session. So in the next 2 to 3 session, we'll be busy in learning only Dockerfile only. And that is what, as I said earlier also, that you need to seriously understand about all these things, whatever we will be learning in our upcoming session. Because this is what they'll ask in an interview. So whenever an interviewer asks in the Docker, right, he will not ask anything in a Docker commands. No, those days are gone where they ask you what is a Docker command, man, what exactly you run. Whenever you want to run any container, can you tell me the command? Those days are gone now. They don't ask anything related to Docker command, related to port mapping, nothing. Even they'll not ask anything related to Docker networking. They'll not even ask related to Docker volume. They'll not even ask related to Docker Swarm. Even they'll not ask even related to Docker Swarm also. Now, only thing what they ask, only 2 questions from Docker is how to write a Docker file. Have you written a Docker file? Yes, that's the first question they'll ask. The second question is that what are the best practice you follow to write a Docker file? I think morning only I told all these things, right? These are things which they ask in an interview. What are the, how do you build a custom image using Docker file? Okay, what are the best practices you follow to write a Docker file? What are the security measures you take to write a Docker file? And what is a multi-staging Docker file? And how to create your own project? These are the things which they ask in an interview. Apart from this, guys, take it seriously from my end. No, nothing they will ask actually, apart from this. Then you might ask me a question, Rajesh, can we complete all these things in 3-4 days only, 3-4 sessions? Yeah, we can complete all these things in 4-5 sessions only. We can complete all these things. Then that much is enough now for us, right? We can only prepare for interview. No, not like that, guys. We need to learn as a whole about everything. Between that, we need to learn what is Docker Compose. We need to learn even Docker networking, Docker volume also to learn. You have to learn Docker Swarm also. Right? Even, and also we have to learn about the Docker file, and you need to also learn about the what are the security tools which are involved for doing a secure scan of the image. Everything we have to learn, guys. But when it comes to interview point of view, they'll ask only these questions only. They're not asking them because they are not really meant to learn, understand more about like whether you know in detail about the in-depth in a Docker. No, they're not interested. I'll challenge you guys. No interviewer in any company, they are not at all interested more in understanding more in depth in the Docker. No, they don't want. They want a candidate where he knows only how to write a very good Docker file. That's all. No other thing, because you will be, when you are working in the organization, your main work will be more into writing a Docker file and trying to run your Docker file with the help of a CI/CD pipeline. That is what they expect. This is what they want from you. Apart from that, no other thing. No, nothing, guys. No other thing. You need not to be proficiency in Docker networking. I don't know. You need not to be very much proficiency in Docker Compose. No, they don't want it. If you're not aware of also, they're least bother. Right? They might ask you, what is a Docker Compose? Sometimes they ask you, you can say that, yeah, Docker Compose also we have used actually. Have you used in a production moment? Yes, sir. In earlier, previously, for deploying our applications, everything, right? In a production moment, we have used Docker Compose also. Okay. Then what is the flaw in that actually Docker Compose? If the Docker Compose fails while running it, yeah, you have to tell that this kind of a questions are rarely asked actually. Because nowadays, as I feel like they won't even ask also. Even I don't think that the interviewer might also know very well under Docker Compose, because even he would have not dealt, he has not even used the Docker Compose in his real time also. Right? But yeah, Dockerfile they have used heavily because they have to build an image, right? For that, you need to run Dockerfile and Docker instruction you have to know. Right, guys? So now, to be very honest with you, now as I said, right, whatever we will be spending our next 10 to 12 sessions, or totally some 20 sessions for understanding Docker, Rajesh, only some 4 5 sessions which you are going to cover for a Docker file, that is only important. Yes, sir, that is only important. But what about when you cover Docker networking and all in detail, when you are covering Docker networking, does it really require for me just to simply listen to the class? That's all. Just understand the concept what I'm saying. Same thing with the Docker volume. Just listen to the class. Don't break your head in understanding, getting in detail about it's not required. What about the Docker Compose? Just listen to the class. What about Docker Swarm? Docker Swarm, forget it. Don't even break your head in understanding in detail about that. But in the class, I will show you, explain every in detail about the Docker Swarm. So now after completion of the Docker file, when you're learning all other concepts of the Docker, right, you have to just simply listen. That's all. If you ask me strictly, Rajesh, should I practice? Not really, don't require, leave it. But Rajesh, should I practice very well Dockerfile? Yes, sir. You need to practice Dockerfile very well. Rajesh, should I practice a multi-stage Dockerfile? Yeah, you need to practice very well. These are the two things which they are very much concerned actually. This one, Rajesh, this is very simple, man. Just you can learn in 15 minutes. You can learn how to create a product. That is not a big thing. Karthik, what is the purpose of integrating this? Because you are completely achieving the entire automation, right? Because your intent is to what happened, right? Whenever the source code or whenever the developer he pushes the code into some kind of a repository on the gate, what happened? Automatically, your pipeline should start. Actually, your pipeline should build it. It's not. It has to build it. It has to create a package out of it, and then after that, you are going to call a Docker file, and the Docker file is going to create an image, and that image has to be pushed into your Artifactory, and finally, you want to deploy your image into your Kubernetes environment. So you are achieving the whole everything as a pipeline actually, as stage by stage you will be running, so that you are making all the process in automated form. Once you just trigger the pipeline, that pipeline will take care of doing all this activity, guys. That's what always all these different tools like Docker, or it could be like your it could be your other tools like for example, you have an Ansible, you have a Kubernetes. All right, all these are integrated along with the pipeline only, because you are trying to do the entire process in automated way. Sorry. Our next task is that, guys, in maybe in the Docker itself, I will be showing you small projects where I'll be showing the integration also, and also I'll be running the pipeline, preferably Jenkins, and I'll be showing you, right, how you can able to achieve by running a pipeline actually. And that is our bread and butter. Right? It's not only that I need to know only the commands. I need to know how to integrate in the with the pipeline also, and how to write a declarative pipeline and how to run it, so that I can even build the image with the help of a pipeline only. So that whenever I want to build a Docker image, why I have to do it manually, guys? Can I write a pipeline? Can I write a pipeline and integrate the Docker along with that? And where I'm calling a Docker file to run a Docker build command? Yeah, you can do everything through pipeline only. That is very much important. Karthik, that is very important. This is what our bread and butter. You need to learn the art of writing everything in automated fashion by implementing a CI/CD pipeline. Let it be in a We are using a Jenkins to write a pipeline, or you are using a GitHub Actions, you are using some other tool like Harness tool or Circle CI, or whether you are trying to do all these things in your AWS cloud. For example, in AWS cloud, you will be using something like a code pipeline, code commit, code deploy. These are services you use. Or in Azure, you will be using something like Azure DevOps. Wherever, whichever pipeline you use, guys, you need to follow the same process of integrating all these tools along with that pipeline tool and writing a pipeline and running that pipeline to automate the whole process. That's all. So main important is that how this tool works, how to integrate it actually, right? What are the environment variables you have to pass it when you are running this pipeline, right? How you make sure that you fix any kind of a real-time issue when your pipeline fails. These are the things which you need to unlearn and understand. Troubleshooting, writing a pipeline, troubleshooting the integration issues, and post execution of your pipeline, if there is any failures in the pipeline, how to fix that, that also you have to learn it. That is what we call as a troubleshooting. We will see some scenarios where we will purposely make the pipeline to fail so that you will understand it. Say maybe some environment variable I will not pass it purposefully, and we will run that pipeline and we will see that the pipeline will fail. Definitely, right? Oh, now we understand some environment variable we didn't pass it. Okay, I gave something like a wrong repository name and just try to run the pipeline. See that your pipeline is getting failed. I'm passing some wrong password. I'm doing some kind of a wrong configuration setting I'm doing, and just run the pipeline and see if it is failing. So you can able to achieve all kind of troubleshooting by doing various different activities. You can able to learn that. So that is the first step of learning, is that you have to learn the troubleshooting of how to fix the issue. So that you can learn, understand only when you know about the complete CI/CD pipeline. Any one pipeline you should understand. For example, Jenkins, you need to know end to end how the Jenkins works, how to write a pipeline, everything. First, you understand about all those things, then only you'll be able to do all kind of a troubleshooting. If you're not aware of pipeline, then it doesn't make sense, right? I mean, what it makes you, how you'll understand how the pipeline is getting executed if you doesn't know anything about pipeline only. So first we need to learn about the pipeline, how to integrate all these tools in the pipeline, and how to run the pipeline. And while running it, if there is any particular stage where it gets fails, you should know how to fix it also. That is what we'll be learning in all our upcoming sessions, guys. Okay, so now what the time has come, guys. Now what happened, right? When we are writing, let me add on some few things actually in our upcoming session, not now immediately. We'll be learning thoroughly about how to write a Docker file. This is our bread and butter. Fine. Now the next aspect is actually that, very important is actually that we need to learn about the build servers also. Build servers means, for example, suppose you are having a Java application. I need to build a Java application. Then in that case, what happened? I have to have a Maven build tool. Okay, so how to use the Maven build tool, how to install it, everything you need to know. After that Maven build tool is done, you need to learn about the SonarQube. You need to learn about something like a Nexus Artifactory or your JFrog Artifactory. These are the artifactories you have to learn actually. Okay, once you did it actually, once you have achieved all these things, learning all these things, then what happened? That we will be writing something like a Jenkins pipelines, or else we will be learning about GitHub Actions pipelines. Okay, so in the Jenkins, we will be learning about integration of Maven, SonarQube, Nexus or JFrog Artifactory, anything, right? Integrating the Ansible, integrating the Docker, integrating the Kubernetes. We all have to understand this integration along with your Jenkins. So the same thing, guys, you will be achieving any pipeline. Suppose you are having your GitHub Actions, the same process. Same thing with your Azure DevOps. Any CI/CD pipe tool might be, you have to have the same process actually. It could be an Azure DevOps, or it could be a harness tool, which will be using, you will be using something like a Circle CI in some organization use it. If you use something like there's something like a Travis is there, Travis CI/CD pipeline. You can use any pipeline tool. You need to learn this art of integration of all these tools along with that pipeline tool. Right? So as a part of this, if you want to understand all these things, guys, your basic thing about how to build any application, what is the build tool used, and how you integrate this with the Sonar Cube and Nexus Artifactory. These are the basic things which you need to learn. So this is a Java application. Similarly, you have a .NET application. You need to learn about something about known as the MS Build tool. And remaining all other are okay. You can run a Sonar Cube. Okay, you can, after that, you can, everything you can put under Nexus Artifactory. Similarly, when you have a Node.js application, how do you build it? What is the build tool you use it actually? Similarly, you have some application which is something like a Python application. How do you build it actually? Similarly, you have application by name C or C++. You need to build it actually. How do you build it actually? This is what you need to learn. This is what we call as a build servers actually. Of course, this will take time because 2 to 3 sessions it will take to understand to the Maven. One session will take to learn about the MS build. SonarQube will take 2 sessions. Nexus Artifactory will take 2 sessions. We'll also learn about something known as a Apache Tomcat app server. That also have to learn it, right? And also we need to have a basic understanding about what is databases. Like for example, we'll learn about what is a MySQL database, how it works, how to install the MySQL database or Postgres SQL database, right? Or else Mongo database, right? So, or Redis cache actually. So we need to learn about all this actually. So this is something, guys, where we have to spend more time, right? This I have to bring some time and I have to get, because once we complete this Docker, right, then you have to get into learning all these things. So what I'm planning that slowly I will start this now one by one. I'll start it so that along with the Docker, we'll parallelly learn all these things. So this, for learning all these things, guys, I need a minimum something about 12 to 15 sessions I need for it to complete actually. I'm telling you upfront now itself because it's a lengthy topic. I need more and more time to make you understand all these things. So once you are aware of all these things, the build server activity, and once you are aware about Jenkins or GitHub Actions, you will be able to easily write any kind of a pipeline. And once you're able to write a pipeline, you know how to run the pipeline, how to build a pipeline, how to run a pipeline, how to fix any troubleshooting issue. You can easily able to understand because you know all these basics activity, you know about all these build servers you are aware of. Then only what happen, you can do any kind of a troubleshooting activity. Okay, SonarQube got failed. Okay, while running the pipeline, SonarQube got failed. Oh, maybe SonarQube, like port number which you have used, right? I mean, that's something a wrong port you have used. Okay, let me go and correct in the configuration whether you are okay. Still, the port is correct. Oh, then what happened? Oh, maybe the SonarQube service is not running. Oh, go and check in the server whether SonarQube service up and run. There you found the SonarQube server service was down. Now go and start that service actually. Now SonarQube will start working. So it's something like that where you need to learn from the very basic level about all the things actually. Am I clear, sir? So we have a long journey to run, guys, because we just started it actually, but it's a very lengthy way. We will be going through it now. So let us try to concentrate to complete this Docker first. Okay, that's what our main concentration is. Docker, let us try to complete all this thing because it has many things. Docker volume, Docker networking, Docker Swarm, Docker Compose. A lot of things are there. Let us try to complete all these things. And then let me take this build server separately for 10 days, 15 days and try to complete this so that we will get the complete picture now. Right? And afterwards, we will try to start with with the Kubernetes, and finally we have Terraform, and we have a Ansible also. So many things are there, guys. It will take another 3-4 months of time to complete all this activity, right? So let us try to stop it now, guys. Who asked this question about this pipeline and all? Like Karthik, right? Karthik, did you understood the essence of the crux of whatever I explained so far?
Yes, sir. Yes, Raj.
So again, one more thing, don't get afraid of hearing all this thing. It's all pretty simple only. Only that actually you have to understand the process or the steps. You need to do yourself once in your system. Once you do it, okay, if you get failures, you should know how to fix it. Once you fix it, now you'll understand the whole flow, how things works, and start writing small pipelines. Now try to run the pipeline. It's every step you have to do. One step you have to move. That's all. You need not to really go and jump a very big long jump. You need not to do. You have to just move yourself one step you have to move so that you will learn everything line by line. You have to learn. First, you have to learn about the application and the build tool and the SonarQube and the Nexus. And there are some other tools are also there. Like for example, your security related tools are there which you'll be using, right? And how do you use Apache Tomcat server? You have to use it. What is database all about? How I can configure my database? How you can make your database available, and how your application server can able to connect to a database. There's a database connections are there, strings are there which you need to use it. Okay, once I learn all these things, okay, I know about all these things now. Now I will be start writing a pipeline. Okay, okay, that becomes very simple now, right? Okay, guys, with that, we'll stop it. So tomorrow, guys, let me start the class at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. 11, I will start the class. 11 to 12:30 we'll take class, because tomorrow, again, it's an important, we will be continuing with here itself, right? With the Docker instruction itself. This is a very long way to go. We will be learning about all these things. And tomorrow, we'll be writing a Docker file to run your Spring Pit Clinic inside a container. It means that you will be writing a Docker file, and then you will be building an image, and that image will have this, the whole thing, and then it also has the CMD. When you try to run that image with the help of a Docker container command, then what happened, that your container will be up and your application will also be up, and then like you can access that application with the help of the port number 88, right? And tomorrow session, let us try to also learn about how to write a Node.js application, how to have a Node.js application, how to build an image for the Node.js application, and then how to access this application. Everything we'll see it in tomorrow's session. Actually. Am I clear, sir? Okay. So here I'm using some application, guys. Tomorrow I'll be using many other applications, like Spring Pet Training is there. I'll be using Spring Pet Training. There is something like Open VMS application is there. Oh, I have to build a Docker image for the Open VMS application. Okay, I'll be using a Docker file. So whenever you get any kind of a source file, you get it, you should know how to build an image out of it. It means that basically you need to build and you have to create an image out of it. And after creating an image, you need to even push that image into your repositories also. It could be public repository, it could be private repository or private registry. Anywhere you need to even push it also, right? So how to do that push, pull and all, we'll see in some time now. Clear? Okay, guys. With that, let me stop the session. Sorry, I took some time, but yeah, it was needed.
Rajesh,
Yes, sir.
do we manually increase the size of the container?
Yeah, very good question. We are going to come across with that, guys, because we have to set some kind of a limits actually, CPU limits.
Okay.
Right. Basically, when you are trying to run this container by using this command, while using this command, Docker container run like this,
Run. Oh,
right? Docker container run where? Docker container. Are we mentioning anywhere the CPU or memory?
no.
Right. So you can able to use with the help of a -c option. So when you try to do Docker container run -fn help,
Docker container -help.
can you see here? -c.
Memory swapness. CPU shares. Yeah.
Yes, you can provide all this, guys. This is what they'll ask in interview. And -m is memory. So this is something like a soft limit you can set. You can set a hard limit like this.
Yes.
Yes, this is what the options you use it actually. Can you see that something like -tty? Sudo, we'll learn even this. What is -u limits, Rajesh? Yeah, we'll learn all these things. -volume, any of you know -o. You can even run a container as a user also. You can run your container as a quietly, you can run it. So these options are very much important, which we would be learning in all our upcoming sessions. Slowly, sir, one by one, all this we will explore it actually. We cannot explain everything in one or two sessions. It's not like
Yes.
possible. It is something like I will try to bring a context based on the context only. I will tell you these options, everything, so that then and there
Yeah,
what happen,
yes.
you will understand in a very serial way.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, guys. Let me stop the recording then. Guys, today's morning and this, right, both I'll be uploading in the drive now. Okay, you can just go and check and try to download it. Let me stop it. Sorry, let me stop the recording. I didn't stop only.